Kia ora, namaste, sat shri akal, adab, wadakam, jai shri Krishna. Hello and welcome to another session of India Live. You can see a beautiful, handsome personality sitting next to me. And of course, the heading you must have read, Trendy Thalaiva with Selva Ganpathy. तो हम आज बात करेंगे कि सेल्वा गणपति है कौन और कब आए क्राइस्टचर्च में. ट्रेंडी तलाइवा के पीछे क्या आइडियाज हैं, क्या लिसनर्स और जो हमारे वॉच कर रहे हैं लाइव वो क्या क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस रख सकते हैं सेल्वा गणपति से. और आई थिंक एंड ऑफ द शो एक ब्रेकिंग न्यूज भी है जो I would like to share with you if Selva feel comfortable. But let's introduce and let's welcome our presenter of this week is Selva Ganpathy. Hello, Selva. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Herman. Thank you for having me on the show, and hi to all the viewers and listeners. It's so exciting to be a part of this show. I don't have like a direct show presenting experience per se, but I think I do have like a lot of stories to share.
A lot, to be honest, a lot. क्योंकि हम off camera बात कर रहे थे and I really didn't want to interrupt, but मुझे लगा नहीं अब time हो रहा है तो we have to click the go button. And but on camera or off camera इनके पास stories का भंडार है because इंडिया से भी बात करें so he had work with some NGOs. He actually start up some NGOs as well to support them.
Correct.
So बिल्कुल scratch से किसी को support करना है तो please meet Selva Ganpathy, and that's how we meet India Live. And thank you for Josephine. I would like to say a big thanks to Josephine because she was the one who made the effort and told me that Selva probably would be interested for something this. So thank you, Josephine.
Thanks to Josephine for introducing such an amazing person, Harman. See, I was just talking to Harman before the show went live that many people think, dream, want to do, but few people start. And something like this, a media show that actually helps people to interact with each other, and something that encourages more people to share about the community activities that are going in and around Christchurch is amazing. So thanks to Herman for that. There's a lot of events, activities, and community specific useful information that I think will be shared through this show that could potentially benefit a lot more people. And I have always been in the community industry, right?
Yes.
Like starting from non-profits to even in the corporate sector. That's my bread and butter. So I love when I do something for the community, and I think this is a great opportunity for me to like be close to you all, and also know about like what you like to listen, hear, what sort of information that you want, etc. So yeah, that's how probably we will shape up this show. Like I'll need your help in doing that.
Please. And जो भी हमें देख रहे हैं अगर आपका कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो बीच में please you can always welcome to ask in the comment section. और नहीं तो नीचे email ID है and Selva also have the access for that email address जो हमारे presenters की है India Live Presenters with s @gmail.com. तो वो सारे क्वेश्चंस होंगे पर सबसे पहला मेरा क्वेश्चन है सेल्वा आप इंडिया के किस पार्ट से बिलोंग करते हैं?
I belong to a really small town called Ambasamudram, which is in the southernmost part of Tamil Nadu. I was born there, brought up there until like I was 15 years old, and then my first relocation from Ambasamudram was to enter into a city, Chennai.
I was going to ask, like, okay, I know where is Tamil Nadu. I've been to Chennai, very privileged for that, but honored. But I didn't know
Samudram. Yeah.
Samudram. So this is something new place, guys. Ambasamudram.
So the Samudram actually in Tamil, perhaps also in Hindi, means ocean.
Yes.
But we are not a place which has ocean or a sea for that matter. We have beautiful rivers and mountains though. So yeah, that's my hometown.
But Chennai में तो है.
हाँ, चेन्नई में समुद्र है।
हाँ, अच्छा तो अंबा शेयर कर लेता है।
Of course, हमारे पूरा तमिलनाडु कोस्ट शेयर करता है, राइट,
Nice.
बंगाल से,
जी
so yeah, हाँ।
बिल्कुल। और बात करें कि जुबान जो एक होती है, sometimes it becomes language is the most beautiful thing, but it also becomes a barrier as well to communicate. तो हम जैसे ऑफ स्क्रीन भी बात कर रहे थे, मेरी हिंदी थैंक्स टू माय मदर इन लॉ एंड माय हस्बैंड, मेरी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी तभी हुई है बिकॉज आई स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम विद देम। अदरवाइज आई वाज टेलिंग सर्वा ऑफ स्क्रीन कि वो पंजाबी जड़ा फैक्टर है ना आ ही जाता सीगा, टांग की लत हो जाती है या टंग हो जाती है। So this was something I learned. So how do you find your mother tongue is I think is Tamil.
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating कि इंडिया में हम इतनी जुबानें बोलते हैं।
Correct.
एंड फिर भी एक एकता यूनिटी में बिलीव करते हैं।
Correct. That's the beauty of our country, right? I mean, we always learn about this like unity and diversity sort of thing, right? So, I think there are more than 1,800 spoken languages in India.
Yes, more than I think 2,000 dialogues, and if you consider
if you go into the dialects, then it's more and more, like more than 5,000, yes. I think, if I'm not wrong. So, but we all like believe in like one thing, togetherness, and then we are also kind of the kindest humans. I think that exists in the earth. So we look after each other. All our like religion practices, everything teaches us to be like kind to each other and help one another. So that's the beauty of India. Though I speak Tamil, like I also had an opportunity to learn Hindi at my early child stages. So we have a thing called Dakshina Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha. They actually teach Hindi to students. Like you can actually go to private classes and they conduct examinations. At that time, it was like so painful because you're in class 4 and you're asked to wake up at 4 in the morning and then go to a Hindi class which you don't like. So, but then I realized like later it helped me a lot because my first actual job, was posted in Delhi.
North side.
Of course. So a South Indian 17-year-old boy coming to Delhi, with knowing Hindi makes a big difference than without knowing Hindi, right? So, but I would say that rather than me reading through the books and writing the exams, me coming to Delhi and starting to interact with people helped me to improve my Hindi. फिर भी अभी भी मेरी हिंदी उतनी अच्छी नहीं है, मतलब थोड़ा खराब है। डायलेक्ट में उतना पता नहीं चलता क्योंकि मैं बात कर लेता हूँ जैसे नॉर्थ इंडियन।
आपकी हिंदी सच में बता रही हूँ, अगर मेरी प्रोफेसर, क्योंकि वी वर वेरी प्रिविलेज कि हमारे नॉर्थ साइड में हिंदी वाज कंपल्सरी सब्जेक्ट, एज लॉन्ग एज स्टेट लैंग्वेज भी कंपल्सरी थी, तो पंजाबी और हिंदी। And I'm the first generation in my house जिसको पंजाबी लिखनी और पढ़नी आती है, because my dad was Sanskrit scholar and mom was Marathi मानस। तो पंजाबी बोल तो देते थे, but जो मेरी लिखाई में और जुबान में थी वो हिंदी कभी नहीं ठहर पाई। और अमला मैडम अगर आप देख रहे हैं तो उनको याद होगा मेरी लेक्चरर को। आई यूज्ड टू गो टू स्कूल डिक्लेरेशन कॉम्पिटिशंस, तो वहां पे मोस्टली अगर या तो इंग्लिश में है क्योंकि रोटरी क्लब्स हैं, तो या फिर हिंदी में है, राइट। तो इंग्लिश में भी हाथ तंग था और हिंदी तो माशाअल्लाह थी। तो अमला मैडम जो थे मेरे डंडा लेके आते थे स्पेशली, यू हैव टू रट्टा दिस, तुझे मैं हिंदी नहीं सिखा सकती हरमन, तू कर लेगी बस, तू रट्टा मार।
True. I also remember fond memories of reading and by hearting Kabir Das's poem. Such a beautiful lines those were, like, if I go back and then read that now, I get to the point. But when I was young and I was like studying, it was like compulsion, तो वो उसका खूबसूरता और सुंदरता को उस समय पे समझ नहीं पाए
क्योंकि टीचर्स का बर्डन था, करना है।
That was like one to do list sort of thing कि ये परीक्षा पास करना है, मतलब अच्छे मार्क्स लेना है, मतलब पास करना. This was the first thing to first barrier to get through. But yeah, apparently, like I think all of those helped, and being in Delhi helped to be able to easily communicate in Hindi. as I said, that I still do make some mistakes in identifying genders of the objects, because Tamil never had that, and English for that matter also never had that, right? So
Yeah.
uh,
Not for the objects.
objects,
Not
correct,
for the
correct.
objects.
So
Yeah.
that become a little tough, but I think of course, like friends always correct when they actually troll you. So that's how you learn.
एक गाना याद आ रहा है, हर एक फ्रेंड
जरूरी
कमीना
होता
होता
है।
है।
जरूरी होता है।
जरूरी भी होता है, पर अगर वो हमें आई
टांग नहीं
थिंक
खींचते हैं।
यस टीज नहीं करते हैं, टांग नहीं खींचते हैं, तो वी विल नेवर इम्प्रूव, क्योंकि आई थिंक बाकी बंदे तो आपको वाह 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 करेंगे, बट पीठ पीछे हंसेंगे, बट जो सच्चा दोस्त है वो मुंह पे ही कहेगा क्या बकवास कर रहे हैं क्या कर रही है, अब ठीक से बोल। बट सिर्फ आप बात करें दिल्ली, आप तमिलनाडु से दिल्ली मूव हुए एट एज ऑफ 17, क्वाइट यंग एज, with family or without?
Yeah, so let's go back to Ambasamudram again.
Okay, let's go back to Ambasamudram.
Yeah, so from there I was, as I said, that I came to Chennai to do my polytechnic. I studied diploma in chemical technology, and after that, like our family moved to a small town called E Road, which is again in the western side of Tamil Nadu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the western side of Tamil Nadu. My father was a tea master. Like he makes tea. He was working in a small hotel. My mom used to do some part-time jobs, and at times like she also did some full-time jobs for a stretch. So I come from like a really, like, what do you call as like a lower poor class family in India?
Yeah, a middle class or
no, even
okay.
below that.
Okay.
The family's annual income was like below the poverty line. But I think that was like sort of like boon to me for myself to be able to stand up and then learn about the responsibilities.
It gives you the fuel, correct. And
correct, to be able to do something. So I'm a first generation learner in my family, right? So I completed my diploma, and then in order to be able to financially support my family, I wanted to get and do a job. So I found a job in like that place where we were living in Erode. I started to work in a textile company as some menial job. It was not related to whatever I studied, but any money is like good money at some point of time. So that's how we all start. And then I got into an apprentice program at the ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. So that was my first entry into actual technical job. So that was a 1 year sort of like an apprentice. So I worked in Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. And at that point of time, the research that we did was about space capsule recovery experiment.
Which helped us?
Correct. Kind of like the Chandrayaan seeds were planted at that time. So have some first-hand experience in participating in some of these research and experiments, which is cool.
So I'm feeling more proud and proud. I'm sitting next to the person who made our whole country like
no,
one of yeah, but कहते हैं बूंद बूंद से सागर भरता है. So even those little efforts made us like stand out of the world and successful.
Correct.
That was great job and thank you for even whatever contribution was. क्योंकि मेरी contribution क्या है यहाँ पे बैठ के सिर्फ बातें करनी. But जो actual में scientist की किसी भी तरीके से आपने help करी, that was a great achievement and you should be very.
No, I'm really proud. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. I think we did like some amazing work there. So it was just a 1 year apprentice. So I had to find another job. So by the end of apprentice, thankfully, like I got a job in Delhi. So I joined IIT Delhi in their chemical engineering department. So I joined them as a lab assistant. So I was actually teaching laboratory and practical experiments in chemical engineering department for all the undergrads and postgrad students. So I lived in Delhi for 7 years. And that's where like I also started my own non-profit thing where I was working on building up a volunteer-based organization called Aid India in Delhi. So we did like a lot of development works, which we'll of course eventually talk about as we get onto the show. But Delhi stint was like for 7 years. In the meantime, like between my ISRO journey and Delhi journey, my father left our home. So I only had my mother and sister. So they moved along with me to Delhi. And then my sister again came to do her higher studies in Chennai. So my mom had to come back, and they were not like very happy about like living in Delhi. So because of them, I also have to find a job in Chennai. So I left Delhi in 2010 and joined IIT Madras, again in chemical engineering department, but a little bit like different position that what I was in. But same kind of like work environment. So I've been like doing that for like 15 years altogether, both IIT Delhi and Madras. And that's where I felt that I've been kind of like doing the same thing again and again, which I was not like quite enjoying. So and by now, like, I have fulfilled my family responsibilities of educating my sister, making sure that she has her own life and getting married and settled and all of those stuff. I've settled out all of my loans that my family had and I had. So I was now open to go out and explore. So I always had wanted to study higher, like learn more. So I found that as an opportunity and came to New Zealand. I would have gone to probably Canada or like Australia to begin with. In the when I started to explore, New Zealand was never in my radar, honestly speaking. And one fine
I think
day,
nobody's radar at this point even.
On one fine day, I was just reading newspaper, and I saw an advertisement of New Zealand Education Fair. I just thought, let's go and like explore, and went there, and then it started to happen. So the entire story of like how I came to New Zealand can be a separate episode. Okay, I'll tell you more about that. Like a lot of interesting.
We'll definitely gonna wait for the second episode for that. Oh, how was the journey and how did you manage to come to planning for Canada, यहाँ ऑस्ट्रेलिया और आगे हैं न्यूजीलैंड में. But we are very, I am very lucky कि ये न्यूजीलैंड आए और हमारी मुलाकात हुई, क्योंकि otherwise जो चीजें और बातें इनसे शेयर करनी थी वही ना हो पाती.
True.
Thank you for joining India Live. I know जब हमारी एक ही मुलाकात हुई थी and आई डोंट नो, बट मेरे आगे कोई ऐसे पिच करता ना, एक लड़की आ रही है और कह रही है अच्छा मैंने ये किया है और मेरा प्लान है, बिना कुछ पेपर के, बिना किसी चीज के बात कर रही है कि मेरा प्लान है एक प्लेटफॉर्म हो जिसमें हर जुबान के बंदे आए और बात करें. ये मेरा प्लान है. कैसे है कुछ नहीं पता, कंटेंट क्या है कुछ नहीं पता, कैसे होगा ये भी नहीं पता, बट थैंक यू उस पागल लड़की को हाँ करने के लिए, because it's very hard when you don't know the details.
Yeah, true. See, as I said again, like when you share that thought and idea, see that entire premise is like interesting, right? So see, so far no one has like approached me also to ask about like, will you be a presenter? So I also don't know like, can I be a presenter? I also don't know like how my show is going to be perceived. Like I can be interesting, boring, entertaining, or like stupid. I don't know. So you are actually giving me a platform to be able to test my skills and then see if I can do this better, and perhaps like through that. See, I am generally driven by one motive, like anything that I do should be purpose driven.
Yes.
And then the primary purpose I think of this show is to create differences to people's life in some way or the other. And if my information, or like if I can be an inspiration or motivation for one person who's watching this show throughout, like I might have done like 100 episodes, and if one person emails me and say that, hey, I found this information useful, I think that's a success of the show, like for me.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to give that platform to me, like, is great. Like if you ask me, will I put that investment of time and money and energy and resource to run the show? Probably no. Now you've created everything, all
looking for the right people and right support, जैसे because हाथ को हाथ होता है. I was a dreamer and I thought, okay, how to become a doer, and I couldn't be here without any of my presenters' support.
Correct.
अब बात करें ट्रेंडी थलाइवा की.
Yeah, Thalaiva, yeah, cool. Trendy Thalaiva.
Yeah. It's a catch, Thalaiva. I want to know, अगर मेरे listeners किसी को भी जो हमारे देख रहे हैं तलाइवा का मतलब पता है तो do let me know, क्योंकि मैंने पहली बार जब तलाइवा का मतलब सुना था सिल्वा, my big brother Srujan Nikalpudi Chaudhary, I hope I pronounce your name right, he is from Vijayawada.
Right.
So we were watching World Cup in Mount Eden. तो जो बॉलर है आपको पता है. So I'm still very stupid in the sports. Right. I don't know the cricketer's name and much thing, but एक वेव आती है
Mhm.
और पूरा ग्रुप चला रहा है तलाइवा तलाइवा sign this Anna sign तलाइवा and I'm like what is तलाइवा
Right.
what is you know
Okay, I can break that down for you and give you an insight of what is Thalaiva, right? Thalai in Tamil means head.
yeah
Okay, so Thalaiva generally terms is a term tossed towards anyone who leads something. It could be a leader of a party, leader of a group, leader of a team, leader. I mean, that's why like Captain Dhoni is associated with Thalai. Thalai is like head, so you
oh
associate Thalaiva with that.
okay he didn't tell me this word meaning okay Srujan you need to do your good research in your own language
Yeah. And then for a long time, Rajnikant, who is a superstar in
yes
Tamil Nadu, was like addressed as
नहीं मुझे
Thalaiva.
वेट करनी पड़ी चेन्नई एक्सप्रेस के आने की because then there was a song मुझको को थोड़ा राउंड घुमा के
Yeah, I would not rate Chennai Express as like a highly good movie because of the way they showed.
it was very commercial
Yeah, I think it was stereotyped as well. But anyway, we will talk about that later. So before Rajnikant, most people identified MG Ramachandran, who was our ex-chief
Yes.
minister, as Thalaiva. But other than that, like generally Thalaiva means that anyone who leads something and anyone who
who's a
can do something.
leader
Yeah. So it sits well in the league of my fellow mates Rajnikant and Dhoni. So I'm going to be known as Thalaiva. So I agreed immediately. Okay, yes.
so Trendy Thalaiva Selva Ganpathy of course he is Thalaiva because उन्होंने मुझे तो Thalaiva का मतलब अच्छे से बताया so I'm sorry Selva I know हम बहुत अच्छी conversation कर रहे हैं but we can also enjoy tea that is cheers ये मेरे presenters को इससे ज़्यादा और कुछ नहीं मिलता because सब volunteer काम कर रहे हैं and they're making effort and they're giving us time and hour which is very important in New Zealand. Yeah. और खासकर बात करें जब एक स्टार्टअप होता है क्रेजी आइडिया से और आप कैसे मैनेज करोगे सलमा बिकॉज यू आर वर्किंग फुल टाइम एंड यू वर्क एंड ऑल्सो आई वुड लाइक टू मेंशन हियर कि जो इनका कॉर्पोरेट काम भी है वो भी कम्युनिटी से रिलेटेड ही है तो आप कम्युनिटी की उस तरफ से भी हेल्प करते हो एंड पीपल नो यू एंड अब यहाँ से भी उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करोगे कभी
yeah sure so yeah I mean I'm not sure like how we can actually bring that in but eventually we'll see in some of the shows in between if we can bring some participants
yes
who can answer questions.
It's your show Thalaiva you are the boss so whatever trends go with Trendy Thalaiva it's your guest and your content
so as I said that like ever since I started my career in 2003 like I have been juggling between two jobs always. It's just that the other full-time job was like volunteering for me like I never got paid for it. It was purely because of the passion and I wanted to do something for the people. So I believe in like one thing like we'll also definitely do a show specifically to talk about time management and stuff but I just go back to basics and try to break down things into like much more simpler ways for everyone to understand. And if you actually go and look at it, we do things because we want to, and we don't do things because we don't want to. It is that simple, right? And if you don't want to do something, you'll always find a reason for not doing it. And if you want to do something, you'll always find a reason. Like you wanted to do this, you have set up a show, you have set up some studio, you have called 4 or 5 presenters, and you're live now. Like, you are passionate about that. You will prioritize everything above all of those things. And if you don't want to do like me, like I'll always say that, oh यार इसमें बहुत सारा काम होता है, पता नहीं मेरे को sponsorship मिलेगा, presenter मिलेगा, या मेरे पास कुछ content हो या नहीं हो, right? So I will not do, right? So that's how I started, like mostly about the passionate things that I like to do. So over a period of time, I was actually doing like volunteering and full-time job, and then अचानक से I also have like a lot of interest in sports, so I started to learn archery.
wow
So archery के लिए तो रोज practice करना पड़ता है, like आपको जाना है. So I started my day earlier, like I started to wake up at 3 in the morning every day.
My God.
So my
पहले 4 बजे हिंदी के लिए उठे, फिर 3 बजे तीर कमान के लिए
yeah,
उठे.
true,
Wow.
true. Thanks to my mom, because I had that habit of waking up early for Hindi classes.
Yeah.
So I learned archery for a while. I did archery, full-time job, and volunteering. And then when I came to New Zealand, I was studying. I also did a part-time job while I was studying, because I need that money to be able to sustain myself in New Zealand. And then even after New Zealand, when I got job, I again found another job as well. So I worked for a US-based company called Cora. So I did like 2 full-time jobs parallelly for a while. And I think for me, like, to be able to be active means a lot. Like, I'm doing something, I'm actually making a difference to someone and also to me. And I always believe that, like, that there is a philosophy, like, the day you stop to do something new, you start to get old.
Yes.
I mean, बूढ़े लोग ऐसे ही बात करके अपने एज कम करना चाहते हैं, वैसे ही है ये.
बिल्कुल. वैसे पंजाबी की एक आपको मैं कहावत बताती हूँ. सलवा इज कहा जाता है, लोकगीत भी है कि दिल होना चाहिए जवान, उम्र च की रखिया.
Correct.
So if you are living your heart full of life, so
age doesn't matter.
Age doesn't matter.
So whenever people look at me, and then when I say that my age to them, they always say that, yeah, you don't look like that. So I also say that I also don't behave like that. Don't just look. I also don't behave. So I think that has kept me motivated to do many things that I like to do.
Yes.
So yeah, it's actually a pleasure to be, and I also think it's a privilege.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets that opportunity. Like, आपके शो में मतलब 5 दिन है, 5 लोग आके बात कर सकते हैं. Like, if I'm one of that 5, then I feel like more proud and privileged, right? So thankful for that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. और आर्चरी की बात करें तो तीर कमान से तलाइवा ने क्या क्या किया है?
Yeah, sure.
Archery, was it your interest or your?
Yeah, so I mean, ever from my childhood, like, I always wanted to do something in sport, right? So I think like 3 things unite people across the world. Like, one is music.
Yes.
The other one is, of course, food.
Oh yes. For me, first is food.
Yeah, true. And the third, I think, is sports. So when you actually like look at any events, any sports that happens, people come together, celebrate, win or lose, like they take it, in the right spirit and stuff. So,
except for Rana ji. There are some exceptions.
Okay, some exceptions. Yeah, noted. So yeah, mostly it teaches human spirit and stuff. So I wanted to do something, but my mother never allowed me to like follow sports or like do sports, because for her, like, the priority was to study. I think her Indian parent ka wohi matlab.
I think nowadays people are very welcoming.
Yeah, it's changing.
It's changing.
The culture is changing.
But फिर भी हर sports के लिए नहीं है, to be honest.
True.
It's more parents are focusing. अच्छा, तूने cricketer बनना है, तो yes, that can lead you as a professional cricketer.
Yeah, true.
तो sports को हम sports की तरह कम लेके again professionalism में कुछ करने के लिए let them, okay, चलो ठीक है, बच्चा कर रहा है, maybe he will find a future in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so sports was always an interest. I mean, of course, like every other child, you play cricket, of course, in the streets. But then the other sporting opportunities were limited. I had an opportunity to play hockey in my school team.
Wow.
But then my mother didn't allow, so I couldn't participate in games. So I was waiting for a time when it comes that I will have my own money. I will decide what I want to play. So that
वो moment आएगा जब मैं parents को कहूँगा कि अब बस.
बड़ा बस खेल का शुरू और हमारी खेल शुरू. तो yeah, in 2010 2012, like unlike like any other people, like I also follow all other sports. Like Olympics is something that really excites me. I definitely, make sure that I watch as much as possible when the Olympics are happening. And if not, I at least follow the news. And archery is an Olympic sport.
Yes.
And one fine day, like in 2012, like it was happening in London Olympics, archery finals. I saw this lady called Ki Bobe. She's a Korean.
Yeah.
She was the gold medal champion that year. I was following archery because India had a high prospects that year, with gold expected out of Deepika Kumari.
Oh, nice.
And Kibobe actually was like so good. Deepika Kumari was like not well on the 130th round, and because of which she couldn't progress, further. But I picked up watching Kipope, and I really started to, fall in love with her archery and also with her, of course.
Yeah.
So
नहीं उसमें भी आप सिंगल हो तो उसमें कोई दिक्कत
yeah,
नहीं
वो भी
है.
single थी. So I wanted to then, take them as my inspiration and start archery as a sport to just explore, like if that's what my interest is. And then I also learned about the story of Deepika Kumari, like who comes from like a really, really small tribal village. And then how she evolved to be the greatest archer in one of the greatest archer, if not the greatest, in India. So I definitely wanted to meet these people and share my stories with them. So that's how I started to practice and pick up archery. I started slowly, but then eventually I also started to learn that I'm enjoying that sport. So I started to upgrade my equipment, and then participate in competitions. So Tamil Nadu has an archery association through which you can participate in the state level tournaments and stuff. We are a young but slowly growing team in Tamil Nadu, so you had more opportunities to explore in archery. So I was one of the organizers of the 2012 national championships in Chennai. So all the likes of Deepika Kumari and all came to Chennai, so we had a good opportunity to interact with all of them. So from that onwards, like whatever tournament I participate, I make sure that if Deepika Kumari is there, I have a photo with her. And then we also like became friends, like
Nice.
we exchange greetings and pleasantries, and it is really honorable for me, like person like me, to be able to be associated and known to greats of Indian archery. So then I also participated in some few individual World Cups.
Yeah.
So these are like open championships. Anyone can go and participate just for the exposure of like how that looks. I won't say I'm a great archer because my techniques are like super bad.
I'm no one to judge. I have no idea and no skills whatsoever.
And hopefully none of my archery colleagues in India are watching, so I can say anything in the show.
प्लीज सिल्वा के सारे दोस्त देखो और कमेंट्स भी करना, ठीक है, बाद में भी बताना कि how great he was.
Yeah, as we spoke before, like they'll be the biggest trollers, and your show will get so much of hits, and this will become viral.
We need Trendy Thalaiva to become viral, don't we?
Yeah, troll, please. So yeah, that's my archery journey. But I think there are a lot of lessons. There are a lot of interesting stories that can come out of that. I'm pretty happy to share that on one of my shows as we go.
तो देखो गाइस, मैंने आज कुछ तैयार नहीं किया था. मुझे कुछ नहीं पता था सेल्वा गणपति जी के बारे में. थोड़ा नॉलेज थी, बट I didn't know how his real struggle was, and especially archery was a big surprise for me. And I know probably I belong to Patiala.
Mm-hmm.
So wahan pe, I don't know if you know or not.
I've been to Patiala.
You've been to Patiala. Of course, every sportsman has been to Patiala because National Institute of Sports, it is situated in my city, in my very hometown. तो जैसे आपने बताया कि दीपिका कुमारी जी नेशनल प्लेयर्स भी आते थे, नेशनल्स एंड इंटरनेशनल प्लेयर्स. अगर आप इंडिया के लेवल में खेल रहे हैं, सो दे यूज्ड टू आल्सो कम टू पटियाला नाउ एंड देन, जो भी उनकी टाइम स्लॉट्स होते थे. तो आई वाज वेरी ऑनर्ड कि कई बार मेरी मुलाकात होती थी. मैंने गवर्नमेंट स्कूल से स्टडीज करी है, तो जब नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स फुल हो जाता था, हॉस्टल फुल हो जाते थे, सो दे यूज्ड टू बुक स्लॉट्स इन आवर स्कूल्स. तो स्कूल में वहां पे क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट प्रॉपर्टी है, तो schools are better than hospitals, I guess. तो वहां पे बुकिंग होती थी महीना, और that block used to convert into hostel. तो वहां पे मेरी कई प्लेयर से मुलाकात होती थी, बट मेरे फ्रेंड्स वर वेरी इनटू स्पोर्ट्स, बट नॉट प्रॉब्ली मी.
राइट.
तो दैट वाज वेरी शेमफुल फॉर मी कि तब मैं इतने अच्छे प्लेयर्स को तब मैं जान भी नहीं पाई. और उस जमाने में कैमरास नहीं होते थे, फोन नहीं होते थे, I'm talking about in early 2000s.
Right, right.
Early 2000s.
Okay.
तो जब फोन का आविष्कार भी इतने बड़े बड़े फोन आते
या तो
पेजर आया था
या
पहले
बड़ा था या तो उसमें कैमरास नहीं थे.
हाँ और पेजर आना शुरू हुआ था वायरलेस सबसे पहले कनेक्शन आई थिंक अगर
Correct.
कोई भी लिसनर किसी को पता है पेजर क्या होता था सो दैट्स अनदर इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी पर तलाइवा सिल्वा गणपति से बात करते हुए कितनी यादें ताजा हो रही हैं एंड आई थिंक
समझ में आ रहा होगा कि ये कितना बुजुर्ग भी है.
बस कोई मेरी उम्र के बारे में मत पूछना बिकॉज आई हैव मेरी ऐसी जनरेशन हमारी मैं कहूंगी ऐसी जनरेशन है सिल्वा बिकॉज हमने डाक भी देखी है
या ट्रू
ठीक है जो एक्चुअल हैंड रिटन लेटर्स और कार्ड्स मैंने खुद पोस्ट किए हुए हैं बिकॉज दैट वाज द बिगेस्ट मीडियम
ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन
यस एंड उसके बाद फ्लॉपीज आती थी माय गॉड दैट्स अ मेमोरी डाउन द लेन कि फ्लॉपी में एक पेंट की पिक्चर डालते ही फुल
We have seen the eras of black and white TV.
Yes.
TVs with shutting doors.
Yes, my grandparents used to have almari jaisa.
And then TVs with only 12 channels.
जिसमें ज्यादातर तो एक दूरदर्शन ही चलेगा उसके बाद
Yeah, actually Doordarshan and then came satellite TVs and they used to host from Manila only for a specific period of time. And then evaluation of like the telegram telephone slowly starting into an era of like colored TV. Color TV used to be like so fat.
मतलब पीछे से अगर आप देखेंगे स्क्रीन से यहाँ तक एक पूरा टेबल खत्म हो जाता था.
Yeah, and then one should actually learn an inspiration from the TVs to lose weight.
I hope Rana ji नहीं देख रहे.
But it took some time for them to like lose weight though.
Oh, he did, but he keep on teasing me. So my husband is my best friend. तो जैसे कहा ना कि जो best friend होते हैं वो ज्यादा
ट्रोल करते हैं.
वो ज्यादा अच्छे दोस्त होते हैं. बहुत अच्छे से मोटिवेट करते हैं. So he trying to push me very good, but I'm very good in ignoring. That's also another skills we can learn. But totally. बात करें सिल्वा not about the age factor, but ट्रेंडी क्योंकि हमारे जमाने में ट्रेंडी कुछ और होता था.
ट्रू.
अब आई थिंक जेन जी मिलेनियन बूमर पहले तो मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आता प्लीज गाइस. Aditi Verma is one of another great presenter on Friday. Every Friday she comes with the Bollywood masala.
Right.
So she is kind of young generation. I think उनकी एज क्या है वो मैं नहीं बता सकती. She is quite young. तो वो मुझे समझा रही थी एक दिन. So what is Gen Z and Millennium and what year you born and all stuff. Isn't it too much to understand this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think I see it in two ways. Like one is that it clearly differentiate, between certain age group of people for us to be able to identify what they like and not like, But again, like I don't want to be judgmental. Like when I say that, when people say that you don't look of your age, I also say that I don't behave like one. So, I try to keep up with what this current generation is trying to do. I'm very bad at fashion though. Like, I don't dress like what current, generation people do, but I'm trying to update myself with what's happening in the world every day. Like, and I think that that's the biggest strength and a kind of like a breakthrough that social media has brought in. A few years ago, like even like 2 decades ago, like you only wait for a specific time for you to be able to get the news, either in the morning through the newspapers or in the evening where, someone comes and presents news, and that's where the limited time slot, right? And then you started to see like 24/7 news channels, like bringing in news from all parts of the world. And then came social media, like where people started report things. So you are able to live in that generation to be able to update yourself with the latest available information, technology, resources, tools, etc. Right? And that's a learning process.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the learning process. So as I again said in the beginning, like the moment like you stop learning, you start to feel that you're losing out. You're getting older and older. So and that is what keeps me in line with the current trends and stuff. So we'll try to pick up some interesting topics and then see what's actually being spoken about in that specific month, or like what's actually evolving, including like technologies like artificial intelligence and stuff in the show. And then I think learning is always a two-way process.
Yes.
The more like you folks share things with us, I will learn, and the more like we start to interact, we can actually build beautiful conversations. So yeah, as I said, going forward, it would be great if you all can send that questions to indialivepresenters@gmail.com with an S.
Presenters, because हमारे भी बहुत सारे presenters
हैं. But that doesn't mean that it only my show will only be talking about like trending topics. We'll also talk about sports. We'll also talk about movies. We'll also talk about like politics.
That I will be.
I mean, when we say like we talk about politics, we talk about politics that actually ask the right questions, and not actually taking sides with a specific party.
Yes.
Or like we'll have open-ended conversations, so that
ये नई policy आई है तो उसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
Correct.
I think currently Christopher Luxton.
Yes.
I won't name the party because I really I'm very neutral person. I don't want to say that I'm influencing this party, but everyone knows where he belongs. उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छा I think एक QR code स्कैन करना शुरू किया है. So they go and knock the door and tells you उनकी एक policy है. I haven't read the policy itself, but it was in the news, the headlines, that they ask people to enter this and they can know if this party will come, how much they're gonna save. Like $250 in a week for a Texan or something. But I really want to know what's their strategy is about. क्योंकि उन्होंने कह दिया कि 2050 I think if the year is right, I'm not too sure, but by the 2050, you will be. This will be a tax-free country.
Right. Okay.
Which is like a dream for any citizen.
I think more of economists and
It's finance, not truthful, but it will be very hard to believe.
If it happens, it's like great. If it does not, like you never know. Like are we holding them accountable for whatever they say? Is the right kind of questions we'll ask.
वैसे ना हो जाए जैसे इंडिया में आते हैं और 5 साल में एक बार चेहरा दिखाएंगे, हम पानी लाएंगे, हम बिजली लाएंगे, हम यहाँ पे ये सब कुछ फ्री कर देंगे, और उसके बाद वो 5 साल बाद खुद ही फ्री हो जाते हैं और फिर 5 साल बाद दर्शन होते हैं.
Yeah, so we'll discuss politics. We'll also discuss about like the evaluation of politics. We'll discuss everything under the sun.
I like the evaluation word.
Beyond the sun.
Beyond the sun. चंद्रयान जब लैंड कर चुका बियॉन्ड द सन, वो चंदा मामा हमारे पास पहुंच चुके हैं. तो ऑफ कोर्स एक साइंटिस्ट की सपोर्ट में भी बैठे हैं सल्वा गणपति जी. सल्वा, एवोल्यूशन और टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करते हैं. दैट इज आल्सो वेरी ट्रेंडिंग टॉपिक्स, एंड आई नो तलाइवा विल नॉट वांट टू मिस इट. आज आई थिंक हेरल्ड के बिग न्यूज़ थी कि केमार्ट in Waikato, they started biggest facility in New Zealand, and they're gonna introduce AI, robotic handling, if I'm right. So how you believe, क्योंकि पहले एक इवन बैंक की बात करते हैं, बहुत हर किसी को बैंक की जरूरत है, पैसों की जरूरत है. तो उस जमाने में से हम बिलोंग करते हैं जब ATMs वगैरह नहीं होते थे.
Right.
And people used to have checkbook handwritten. Correct. Computer भी नहीं होते थे. Then started having fax printers and fax printers and all stuff. And फिर checkbooks printed आने लगी, and अब ATMs पैसे withdrawal करने लग गए, अब पैसे deposit भी हो जाते हैं, सब कुछ हो जाता है. अब ATM में जाने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, pay to mobile भी हो जाता है.
Yeah, true.
तो is it कि जो robotic और AI generation आ रही है, somehow it is trending, it's very helpful, but it's also dangerous to human race. Is it?
Correct. I think that any technology has both its good things and bad things, and again, like it depends on like how it is applied and used.
And who is applying and who is using.
Yeah, true. So if you go a couple of decades back, and if you say that today, 20 years ago, if we sit in the same room and we think that, we are going to talk to all our people on a show like this, sitting in this room,
Yeah.
would you have believed? Probably you
2003,
said that,
never.
no, right?
There's no such thing.
Yeah, maybe, that's something that we need to like do or think about. And that's what, like, if you go and like look at some of the movies that were made around technologies, they were forecasting.
Yes.
And the human ability to create things is beyond imagination, right? So if you can imagine, you can create. um, um,
And
67
sometimes you have to wait 20 years, like Avatar
correct
movie.
correct
Oh my God, a writer wrote 20 years back
correct
and waited for 20 years, for whole 2 decades
correct
to implement.
correct. So 20 years of efforts have made us land in the moon. And India is actually also planning to send a man mission to moon.
Yes.
These are stuff that are unbelievable, right? So similarly, like, 2 years ago, like, AI was like a really, really small thing. Only a very few people know about the term, who are in the technology industry. But now today, every college going students know AI because ChatGPT has their
ChatGPT,
essays.
Grammarly.
I think that's a good thing. Like, I'm not seeing that as a bad thing. Like, see, not everyone has the ability to articulate and write and read and tell
Yes.
things, right? If somebody is like helping them to provoke that thought, that's great. Can I build on top of that? Yes, I can. So I seriously believe artificial intelligence is a technology that is going to augment human capability. Can it be used destructive? Of course, it could be. But then, who is training those models? Who is building those systems? What sort of like regulations that they bring in is going to be the question. And that is where all the government and regulatory bodies should step up and then work hand in hand with the companies who are building those. Um, See, it is outrightly wrong to also like put a blanket ban and say that this is bad, because you never know, right?
Yes.
You never know, like, 100 years down the line,
Okay.
a heart transplantation is done by a robot.
Yeah.
Imagine the precision it can have on, like, that operation being successful compared to a human. Like, I'm not saying like human operations are like unsuccessful. No, I
Yeah.
really respect those doctors
Doctors
who
are,
carry out, but the scale,
yes.
how many robots can you create, whether like how many doctors
And it
can you
actually
create?
can resolve the issue of lack of surgeons currently we are facing
Correct.
in New Zealand. It can be very supportive idea.
Correct.
Not saying कि अभी कर दो, but
No, see, I think that's where the world will head towards. Like, you never imagined a car that could drive on its own.
Yes.
Today we have that on road. Tomorrow it could be a truck. Flights are automated nowadays. Like,
Yes.
pilots just sit and then the routes are like loaded into programs.
Predestinated.
And artificial intelligence, if you want or don't want, like, it's already in your life.
Yes, that's
true.
true.
Your Instagram is listening to whatever you speak, and will surface advertisements based on like whatever you're having a conversation around. Like, I'm going to go back and check my Insta after like going home. Like, it'll talk about like radio shows and stuff. I don't know. So artificial intelligence is in your life. Like, how are we actually going to use it to benefit our career growth as well as like personal and professional life growth is on to us.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that the world is headed in the right direction in that way. I mean, unless some random psychopath guy goes and says that I'm going to use AI to like destroy or like use it in a destructive way.
Well, उसके लिए हम इंसान ही काफी हैं. बेचारे AI को हम blame ना ही करें तो अच्छा है.
Yeah. So we can't predict the future,
Yeah.
but we can foresee it. And I think the future is going to be like more tech driven.
Yes. The present also is very tech driven. तो बात करें ट्रेंड में, हमारा टेक जरूर होगा एक पार्ट, और जैसे कि नॉर्मल ह्यूमन लाइफ में भी टेक इज अ ग्रेट पार्ट नाउडेज. और फैशन भी हो सकता है कि जो न्यूज में आएगा. ऑफ कोर्स आई एम नॉट ऑन द वन.
Yeah, but I'll also do that with the disclaimer of don't take this very seriously.
Yes, don't take that very seriously. But
for that matter, anything seriously.
बट तलाइवा जो भी लाएंगे ट्रेंडी ही होगा. और ट्रेंडी तलाइवा सेल्वा गणपति हर Wednesday आएंगे आप वादा
Yeah,
करते?
her Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m.
Yes.
New Zealand time. I'll be with you folks. And most likely, in case if I'm not able to make, I'll make sure that, we talk about that well in advance.
एंड शो के बाद ऑफ कोर्स मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी सिल्वा को कि अपने जितने खास दोस्त हैं ना उनको टैग करें एंड आई रियली वांट टू नो देयर ओपिनियन कि सिल्वा ने जो आर्चरी भी की है या थोड़ी सी कोई गपशप बातें हो तो डू शेयर विद अस ताकि दोस्तों का साथ होना भी बहुत जरूरी है.
Yeah, true.
और कुछ ऐसी यादें भी ताजा होंगी विद दोस्तों के साथ जो सिल्वा sometimes it brings a smile to your face.
Yeah, true. See, I mean, of course, like as you said, that the moment I start to share with my friends, there'll be like a lot of trolls and stuff that could happen. But the other way, like I can't so like share secrets or like share things that they don't know and can't lie in the show. So
No, I'm pretty sure your friends are still your best friends or good friends.
यार
तो वो secrets मत share करना. हाँ, हल्की फुल्की secret share कर लेना ताकि टांग खिंचाई भी तो होनी जरूरी है.
Yeah. So when you're not with those people, you can talk about like anything because the other person don't know whether you actually did it or not. But when you have them, then you have to be true, which I'm afraid of.
Which you are afraid of, but I'm definitely not afraid at all because Trendy Thalaiva जो है Selva Ganpathy will have a great, amazing show for you guys. So don't miss out every Wednesday India Live. ठीक शाम 6 बजे मैं नहीं ये जरूर मिलेंगे आपको क्योंकि he will be the Thalaiva and of course एक वादा मैं जरूर इनसे लेना चाहूंगी and this is something we never discussed but every day today I learned the word Thalaiva. तो आप ये वादा करके जाएं कि एक वर्ड जरूर हमारे listeners और मुझे भी सिखाएंगे every week.
Yeah, sure. So I also thought that it would be a good way to introduce this great book called Tirukural to people. So it was written.
Sorry, what is called?
It's called Tirukural. Tirukural. So basically, it's written 2000 years ago by a great saint poet called Valduvar. So it has like 1,330 short verses. Like each of those verses is like 7 words, just 7 words.
I started with 1 word.
But they actually convene meaningful living through the book. And it's actually kind of like a book that can help you guide through your life at any stage. And I'm planning to share 1 verse each week.
Wow.
And also share about like what that means. And if possible, I can try to find a story that relates to that.
Yes.
And then share that with people. So you're not just going to learn 1 word, but 7 words every week.
Wow, that's great.
The show. That's my plan. But again, like I would be interested to know from the listeners and the people who watch this show to be able to tell me whether it's adding value back to them or not. And if there is anything else that they want to know, like as you said, that I want to learn 1 word, if there is anything else that they want to learn, I'm happy to take that and then incorporate.
Well, मैंने एक लफ्ज कहा था और मुझे 7 लफ्ज मिल रहे हैं और एक मीनिंगफुल हर लाइफ में ऑफ कोर्स उसकी जरूरत होती है कि कोई अच्छे से गाइड करे what we should do on the situations and sometimes it's get really hard. तो हार्ड बातें नहीं करनी, ट्रेंडी बातें करनी है और हर बुधवार करनी है शाम को 6 बजे सेल्वा तलाइवा के साथ. So Selva Ganpathy, thank you so much for joining us and look forward for next Wednesday with trending things. Anything would you like to say to your own listeners?
No, thank you so much for tuning in, firstly, and thank you so much for having me, Harman. And secondly, as I said that learning is a two-way process. I want you folks to contribute to the show as much as like I am doing. So ask your questions, interact with me, give your feedbacks, tell me if I'm doing something right or wrong, so that we have the ability and room to correct. And I do hope that I'll be able to bring in some value to some people, and I also get some value back.
और जैसे मैंने वादा किया था शो की शुरुआत में कि एक सरप्राइज है. So would you like to share that, Selva?
Yeah, thank you.
A surprise मेरे लिए थोड़ा सा जब पता चला तो थोड़ा सा
But
काम
you
भी.
can act it like as if like you're hearing it for the first time.
No, yes, I didn't, but I didn't know that it's gonna be so soon.
Yeah.
तो अभी बता ही देते हैं अपने listeners को कि वो surprise अच्छा है कि बुरा है.
Yeah, true.
But I'm taking it as positive. It
Yeah,
will be
yeah,
अच्छा.
yeah. So I am actually moving to Melbourne, Australia, for my work purposes, and all of this happened suddenly. Like the plan was on for quite a while, but then you know the
India
dates
Live became a lucky charm.
were not fixed. Yeah, India Live kind of like became a lucky charm. The moment I signed the contract with these people, I got my Australia visa.
जो कि प्लान था स्टूडेंट पे टाइम पे कि कनाडा जाएंगे कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया, पर आगे न्यूजीलैंड सिर्फ हमसे मुलाकात करने के लिए.
या अगर कोई किसी को वीजा चाहिए तो इंडिया लाइव के साथ जोड़ जाओ. वीजा मिल जाएगा.
Okay, disclaimer, sorry, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you, Selva. But still, he will be with us, and every Wednesday he still promised he's somehow gonna manage his life. And good news is for us in this surprise कि हमें मेलबर्न की भी बारे में कुछ पता चलेगा.
True.
So the listeners who are, because quite of people are moving towards Australia, so it can be handy to you guys. And
I'll bring some trends from Melbourne.
Yes, but sometimes, you know, as a Kiwi people, we lay back and it's like, nah, because Christchurch is still the best. As on the topic, Rolleston is the best. So your competition bhi ho sakta hai. But thank you, Selva. Thanks a lot for making this effort, and look forward for next Wednesday.
Yep, thank you. I am looking forward as well.
So, Aloji is ਸਾਡੇ ਬੜੇ ਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ presenter, Selva Ganpathy, who gonna bring Trendy Thalaiva every Wednesday 6 p.m. So, stay tuned और keep watching. अगर कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, कुछ भी आप पूछना चाहते हैं या जिस बारे में बात करना चाहते हैं, I love your hearts and I love your thumbs ups. It will be great अगर आप comments भी करें. अगर नहीं कर सकते, but if you feel shy, आप email भी कर सकते हैं indialivepresenters@gmail.com में, ताकि वो anonymously, अगर किसी ने लिखा anonymously, it will be anonymously, and otherwise stay tuned. Trendy Thalaiva with Selva Ganpathy. मैं हरमनजीत कौर राणा लेने इजाजत.
Trendy Thalaiva Selva.
Trendy Thalaiva Selva. Thank you so much.
Thank you.